Hey, what's up, everybody? If you don't know me, I am the old Glave, or Glavecy, and I am your host for this week's Nightcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Blakester154.
How's it going, guys?
It's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts, Blake. I mean, it's been, what, 1 year, 2 years? When was the last one we did?
I mean, it's been a while since I've done a podcast, since the first time you've actually been on a podcast.
Yeah.
The last podcast, to my knowledge, was around 2 years ago at this point, or it's rough, but around 2-3 years ago.
2 to 3 years ago. I think I was looking at actually, 1 second. I have the YouTube page pulled up right here. I think the last podcast release was July of 2022. Holy moly, that is a long time ago. Dude, how has it been? How's it 3 years? Has it been 3 years since we've actually sat down and talked too, for the most part?
I mean, outside of podcasts, no, it hasn't been that long, but in terms of podcasts, yeah, we haven't done a formal podcast in a while, but we've had the small nightcasts and the Discord on the stages when they first came out. And that was about 2 years ago, maybe 3. Actually, no, that was about 2 or 1-ish.
Right, so it's been a while since we've done one of these podcasts. First of all, I mean, big thanks to the community department, to Ollie and the administration for sanctioning this and letting us sort of bring it back. Hopefully you guys listening in are able to sort of get, I guess, an idea in this first podcast of sort of how they're going to go. We've got a lot of things that we want to cover sort of here in the next few months. But today, I mean, since it's been 3 years, essentially, it's 2025, if you can believe it. And it's been so long that we're going to sort of just cover, I mean, let's just sort of pick up where we left off in July of 2022, at least since the last podcast. Sort of what has changed in TNI, from what you've noticed, just looking back, going through the channels, if you've had the time.
I mean, at least one big thing that I've kind of noticed is that there's a lot less channels compared to what it was originally, especially in focuses or just kind of general channels as well. There's kind of there's either more or less channels depending on how you look at it. With the old voice vent chat room, you don't really see that anymore because we hide it now, but even then, it's there's definitely significant less amount of channels compared to if you look back to the original Discord format.
Yeah, I remember way back when. I mean, even when I was an admiral, admin, specifically Madigan. I swear it was a monthly task. It was find channels you can get rid of and merge. I could never. I don't know why I could never figure it out, but I guess they finally cracked the code because this Discord server looks a lot cleaner now. I mean, props to whoever was able to do that. I think Adamek played a big role in reorganizing the Discord.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a joint effort between all the departments too, because especially community, because community has control of basically every single channel to some extent.
Empire of community. Oh, yeah, we controlled everything back in the day, but I guess, yeah, I mean, I can still see the community channels. They've cut down significantly. I remember when we used to have I used to brag about it, I guess, and I guess that was a bad thing to brag about when I was a community admiral, but I used to be you've got 10 channels, I've got 50, get on my level.
Actually, we also had I mean, this is also before threads were a thing too, so that kind of added to everything. But it's now in community, it's we used to have a channel for every single team. Now we have significantly less, and everything is kind of in a thread now.
I remember when threads got released. I was not on board with threads, mostly because they would disappear and then I could never find them again. It took me a long time to sort of adjust and looking at threads and be I could actually manually open this. Oh shoot, I don't know if I can say that on a podcast, guys. I swear that's the only time I'm gonna swear. We're keeping this family friendly. Oh shoot, guys, shoot. Anyways, back on topic. Yeah, it took me a moment to adjust to threads. It's like a mental note you almost have to do in your head.
Yeah, and part of it is also because if there's no activity in the thread for X amount of time, then the thread will just go away.
Yeah. Anyways, outside of the channels and everything, something else I've sort of noticed in TNI is sort of, obviously there's this new rank called the Commodore, or Commodore, however you want to say it. Yep. At least when I was an admiral, those guys didn't really exist. From what I understand, it seems like they're more of the in-between between colonels and admirals. They sort of deal with specialized projects, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right, because it's now every single person who wants to be a Commodore has to make a mandate for some sort of leadership mandate for themselves, which I'm not entirely sure what that entirely entails personally. But I know it's like you have to be focusing on one thing. Like for example, when Adamek became the Commodore, which I think he was also the first Commodore too.
Yes.
It was pretty much mainly working on the Imperial Codex, which was released not too long ago. Then just like from there, we just kind of started seeing more Commodores come out, which, based off what I've kind of observed, it definitely seems to be a lot more of a in-between rank for Admiral, since like we had Yosh. Yosh, he was Commodore before he got promoted to Admiral. UA Emmy was a Commodore before they got Admiral recently. Yeah, so I definitely agree that's definitely a more in-between rank for that.
Yeah, I remember when I was still an Admiral, we were talking about trying to introduce some type of extra rank. We never actually did, and obviously they did now, but back then we never actually got very far. But definitely, I think it's a great idea to, start preparing the next level and, the next generation of leadership and high command, people who are going to lead the group forward. And I also love the idea of the leadership mandates. I think that's honestly something that's it might be overlooked by most of the group, but I think it's actually really important, especially if you're an aspiring officer and everything. Like, you want to see what your leadership is doing and you want to be able to hold them accountable. And so I think the idea of using those leadership mandates, especially for like Commodores, it sort of just instills that sense of accountability to the public, to the rest of the group, before they actually reach that high command level. And then once they get up there, hopefully, they continue to do that. They continue to be transparent and open about what they want to do, what they're focused on, the priorities. And so I really think it's a great thing. And I think more aspects of the group should try to incorporate that. That's just my opinion, but I think it'd be awesome, just to be able to see what people are up to and what they're doing. But aside from that, the big addition of the rank, there's some new faces as well. You mentioned Uemi and Yoshano, I believe, the two new community premiers. Ragdoll, unfortunately, has retired, it seems, since we had our last podcast. I think the last time we did like a Nightcast, she was a colonel or an admiral, or she might have been an Arch-admiral.
Actually, no. When we did our last podcast, I think she was either recently promoted or she was still a colonel. I think she was recently promoted though.
Okay, yeah, that was a long time ago. So then she went to Arch-admiral and then Supreme Admiral. So that's sort of a huge thing. They obviously haven't appointed a new Supreme Admiral as far as I'm aware, but she's gone. She had left a huge impact on the group, I can say, just from my time being a divisional officer. I've never met anyone more passionate about solving divisions and working with them, especially just given the reputation of especially the divisions at the time. They were a little harder to work with, and Ragdoll did definitely trailblaze the way to what we have today. So yeah, do you have any personal stories of being able to work with her or anything that was particularly stand out to you?
Honestly, not really. I never really worked on Ragdoll in the same manner that you did with divisions. The only real work I did with her was with the podcast, which even then, she was fun. She was a fun person to talk with during the podcast. She was fun to have discussions with about the podcast, all that stuff. It was just, in general, a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah, speaking of Ragdoll as well, obviously her BFF in TNI, Burrito, Director General of Divisions, has also since retired. I believe the two new Director Generals are Ray Astra, and is there one more, if I'm not mistaken, or is it just Ray Astra at the time?
I think it's just Ray Astra right now.
Okay, just Ray Astra.
Yeah, I think it's just Ray Astra since. Yeah, I think it's just Ray Astra, unless Hockey is still marked as one, but I believe he moved to Untitled.
Oh yes. Hockey is in Untitled, and then it's Incipium, who's the other Director General. Sorry, Incipium. I honestly forgot about that. But yeah, there's two Director Generals, so it's Ray Astra and Incipium. Hockey moved to Untitled, yes, because I believe he's under Madigan in that regard. And then I believe Jacko, obviously since the last podcast, he was promoted to Arch-admiral. He was the former liaison. Was he Arch-admiral in the last podcast?
I don't think he was even a captain during the last podcast.
Dang, it is. Yeah, that's true, I guess. No, yeah, you're right. It's been that long. Yeah, well, Jacko, for those of you who don't know, Jacko, a new face here in TNI, I guess, for more of the older people, older generation, a newer generation. I bet you're used to seeing him. Jacko, he rose through the ranks. He became the liaison admiral for some time being, I believe, working with Hockey. Now he's an Arch-admiral. I believe he was sort of the like public affairs Arch-admiral or whatever, and but now I believe he's actually in charge of divisions, like the divisions administrator for the time being, and I believe he's working with Imperium and Jaaziar to sort of continue to grow our divisions in those unique communities. But yeah, that's who else? Oh yes, 2 new Prague generals, Unknown and Oliu. Oliu being the former community premier, and Unknown the former chief magistrate.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, Glave, but Ollie actually was after you in terms of succession for premier, correct?
Yes, so that's really funny. It seems like Ollie is trying to, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but he's trying to follow in my footsteps, it seems. Because I was a community premier for some time, and then I obviously went to Prague and Justice. And it seems like Ollie has taken the exact same path. He was community premier, now he's Prague and Justice with Unky.
Except I'd say that Unky's more Justice side, while Ollie's more Prague sided.
Oh, definitely. Unky's impact on Justice, I mean, from even when I was Admiral and everything, I can't think of a better person to run it. I mean, obviously he's been in this group forever, and he's the most humble guy you'll ever work with. I mean, he'll say he doesn't do anything for Justice, but he does loads and loads and loads of work, and he's honestly he's more than just a figurehead, you know. Sometimes, I'm not saying this about all admirals, but sometimes there's just admirals who are more so figureheads, at least in my experience, and he's definitely not one of those. He's not afraid to get in there and get into the nitty-gritty work as well. So mad respect for him, definitely a well-deserved promotion. Our favorite IPC. Is he an IPC sergeant, or did he? I don't know. I know he's an IPC officer of some sort, so.
He might be sergeant, I don't know.
I'm glazing him only because he's an IPC and I don't want to get my house raided. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But aside from that, I mean, there's also still some of the same faces. Madigan is still around as the focus administrator. Some things never change. Piano is still around as an admiral, although most notably, he's an untitled admiral now because Warfare got
Warfare's
nuked.
gone. Warfare's gone now.
I remember looking back at the Discord. I think it was, I don't even know when Warfare got removed. All I remember is looking back. I'm like, holy shoot.
I think it was either February or December, I think. Because I know it was pretty late into 2024.
Okay, so it was a more recent change.
Yeah.
It caught me by surprise, I'll be honest. I was like, what? They're gone?
Yeah, because this got announced during, I think, a TNIC ceremony, if I recall correctly.
Right, because Warfare was merging with them to more focus on, like, just putting it all together. Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought that was surprising, though. I was like, really? Like, all this work into Warfare, the Nighthawk and internal relations server and all of that fun stuff. Do they even still use that, I wonder? Like,
I mean, it's still around, but I don't know if it's actually used anymore.
I remember, dude. I remember being in Warfare department. It was something else. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was fun. But I don't think practice raids were meant for me. I could not figure out how to balance to save my life. How I got into Warfare department, dude, I don't even know. I couldn't balance stuff to save my life. But I mean, yeah, Warfare is gone. It seems like, is Liaison still around too, or have they sort of?
I mean, that's kind of the thing, because it's like we haven't heard anything from Liaison for a while now, so I'm not even sure entirely what's going on with that. Because one of those notable things was that Jacko was the Liaison Admiral, but then there hasn't been any formal replacement, and ever since Jacko left, Liaison's kind of gone dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sort of just, I'm trying to scroll through some of the channels, and it seems like they're somewhat still around. I think the last time they attempted to host an event was on the 7th of December last year. So, I mean, they're still kicking, it seems. If you ever need a replacement, Madigan, if you're listening in on this, I will happily lead Liaison for you. Trust. I'm just kidding. But no, yeah, it seems like Liaison's still here.
I swear to God, Bill, you just keep going up and down the ladder. You gotta pick one side and stick to it.
I'll stick with the podcast. I think that's plenty for me. But yeah, no, so the Liaison's still here, Justice is still here, Community, Prague, Lore. But yeah, Warfare, I think that's the biggest notable change, at least in terms of focuses. In terms of divisions, I don't know if there's been any major changes. Obviously, Manticore seems to be back. I noticed that, and I was like, huh, they're definitely back and kicking.
Actually, one of our former guests actually left. They used to be a division director.
Oh, who was that again?
And for those of you who weren't around during that time, Clone Commander 1000 was actually on our podcast during some of our earlier days, and we asked some questions about that. And I believe it was last year, 2 years ago at this point, Clone Commander stepped down from the position and retired from TNI.
Right, yes, Clone Commander. I completely forgot about him. That sounds so bad to say out loud. Oh my gosh. Have you ever listened on this, Clone? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. It's just like, sometimes you just forget that people honestly, people existed. So yeah, he was a big influential figure in RG and the TNI officer corps, if I remember correctly.
I'm sorry to say, but I think you're gonna get IPC knocking on your door tonight.
Yeah, that. Oh shoot, he was. Oh, still might be an IPC. Oh boy, that's not good. That is not good. I'm making enemies today. But no, yeah, Clone. I remember Clone scared me when I first became an officer because he was an officer since the beginning days of TNI, like way before I even.
Never go ahead and 07 Glave and chat when you guys. If you're in the Discord, ping Glaves and say 07.
No, but Clone honestly scared me. Like, I remember. Okay, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but I'll say what I can because I don't think they can get mad at me. Is back when like we still had a vote on Trello, like Clone. He was not afraid to speak his mind, and I think that's honestly what made him such a great officer and such a great individual in our community. It's because he was unafraid to speak his mind, and that was, honestly so helpful in terms of advancing our policy and everything. Yeah, no. But sometimes, if he didn't agree with you, he let you know.
He would let you know if he did not agree with you, and he would call you out on all your bullshit.
Yeah, dude. There's some times he would call me out, and I would close Discord for the day because I was just like, I can't. I'm like, this is too much, but. No, props to him. Honestly, well-deserved retirement. I think the Royal Guard has been through a few directors since Clone stepped down. I think most
definitely so too.
Recently, they went through Viteld or what is he? Shoot. What's his other name? It's not Invim's. He's Invim's alt. Whatever. There was Vital Tide, who was the director immediately after Clone. And I believe after Vital Tide, they went to Fort Lewis, I think, was the most recent.
I mean,
was it Flemsy? It might have been Flemsy.
Honestly, I haven't been paying attention to the group for a while, so I can't really say that much.
Well, they went through at least 2 to 3 other directors since Clone has retired. I believe most recently, Legend Scud has been appointed the director of Royal Guard, so congratulations to him. He's been in this group forever. Really, really well-deserved.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I wish you all the best. If you ever need a Royal Guard, let me just tell you, from my time as an Admiral, I picked a few things up. I'm just saying. I'm making a pass at every division. I need to stop.
You are.
I need to stop.
You're making a pass at everything. Nothing is safe from you.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of the Royal Guard, I mean, it seems like all the other divisions have remained relatively stable. In CE, I think their newest director is JBF3, if I remember correctly.
I think about it. What? Was that last of the podcast?
I think Josh might have still been the director at the last podcast. Like Josh Martin?
Yeah,
was he?
I know, but I'm trying to remember if that was actually a thing in their last podcast. I don't.
Oh, combat engineers as a whole? Oh, that's a good question. I don't actually know.
Well, just in case we didn't cover it already. Combat engineers recently, or around. Actually, wait a minute. No, I think it was around actually, but just in case we didn't already cover it in one of our previous podcast episodes, combat engineers is a support-based division that specializes in healing and fortifications for TNI. They have an assortment of things they can use along with a medigun. They have a building tool for fortifications.
And they have this really cool nickname. They're called the Grapes. If you've heard of them saying like, "Oh, I need a grape," they're probably referring to a combat engineer. And grapes are the best fruit, in my opinion. So combat engineers, they have probably one of the best communities as well here in TNI. Not that other divisions don't, but I'm just saying from my time in combat engineers, it's definitely a great opportunity for y'all to get involved. Definitely one of my favorite divisions.
While this wasn't around during the podcast, we did have a little bit of a club system going, which then got shut down.
Right, clubs are gone now. Oh, I forgot about those too. Or external communities, whatever they got called.
Yeah, it was external communities. But basically with clubs, it was basically just kind of small focus groups of whatever might have interested you. So it's like, you might have had, well, we had Anime Club, we had, and kind of towards the sunset of the project, we had Minecraft and Steam. We had Star Wars Club, we had the Cadet Task Force, which personally I wasn't that big of a fan of.
Neither was I. They did not like me. But I do miss external communities. They were definitely an interesting project. Something I would be interested in trying to revive, especially since it seems like a lot of this community's attention seems to almost be going away from the border and more towards like individual or external communities.
I would be very surprised if they actually came back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking it out in my head. It was definitely rough trying to set those up. So if we were to do it, we need a good reason.
Also, another thing to mention was that, another thing to mention is that recently Stuff of the Day's made a comeback. Which, if you don't know what Stuff of the Day is, it's basically just a list of a couple things that whoever is running it decides to do for a day. And basically just gives you a couple facts, quotes, riddles, songs, whatever it may be. And I remember when I did it, I was the only person doing it, which burnt me out.
Hey, I remember when I joined TNI, I loved your Stuff of the Day, dude. Like all your facts and everything. And the songs, dude. You helped me build a playlist. I made like a TNI playlist of all the Stuff of the Day songs, just because I thought it was fun. Like it was honestly so fun. So honestly, y'all, definitely check out Stuff of the Day. That's half the reason I stuck around TNI, honestly, Blake, is I remember when I joined, you had still been here for a while, so I was like, this is fun, like, this Blake guy seems pretty cool, and your VC events as well. Speaking of which, they don't do those anymore, do they?
I mean, like, the channels are still around. It's more of a matter of there's not enough people who actually are able to host.
Yeah.
Because in general, it's like, it doesn't look that hard. But when you try to give all that information out, that's when it gets hard to actually manage.
Yeah, with everybody DMing you, give me my role, make me the murderer.
Actually, there's been a couple times when people are just like, hey, can I be Hitman? I just don't give them the Hitman.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I loved your VC events. Honestly, community, if you're listening to this, you should bring them back. Nighthawk nights, karaoke nights, those were some of my favorite events. Even like after moving up and like moving into like the high command or whatever, like I would still attend VC events just because they're so much fun. Like there's some really talented people here in TNI too. Yeah. Like some of the singers and guitar players. I mean, most notably, for all you listening, you probably know Sensibly Unsensible, a great singer, a great guitar player. I mean, there's some really talented people. So it's a great opportunity to sort of find people who might be interested in music too, singing and everything. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else has really changed since we've picked up. I mean, Vanguard still exists, the Reaper Battalion still exists. I still believe there's still other Reaper Battalion.
They're actually repurposed though.
Right, because they used to be tour focused, right? They used to host tours.
Yeah, because their original main focus was to do tours, as Glave said. But more recently, they switched over to more of a combat role on the border again.
Right. And I did see that they changed their rank names back to their OG names, so back to when they used to be. So like Warden, Arbiter, Maven. It's the only time I've ever gotten a disciplinary strike was in NRB when I was an officer. I have not forgiven the division, so yeah, guys, NRB, I'm just kidding. They're not very strict. Well, I take that back. Don't do anything stupid.
I'm about to make pass out another division.
No, okay, I'll stop. NRB's great, guys. NRB's great, honestly. Join as many divisions as you can is my definite encouragement, because there's so many opportunities for you guys to sort of progress in this group, and it's all about finding the right community for you. NRB, they've got some great tools at the border, and they've got a good person leading them right now. Woods Winter 49, a recently appointed deputy director, and he's sort of taken over the lead. He's a great person, has done really well in the past. I've worked with him in some different focuses. He's an NRB, like old OG, OGen is what you say? Yeah, OG. So
Ogen.
OG, whatever you want to call it. So he knows what he's doing. It's a great opportunity. I also believe one of my other friends, super cool, is an officer there. He's a prime. You like, British people with British accents. He's really entertaining. 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend. So, and then Vanguards. Obviously, Vanguard still exists. They've had some leadership changes. Obviously, with M. Burrito resigning, there is a new forerunner, I believe. They have a new high command as well. But they seem to be doing very, very well. If you're interested in swords, sort of like the sword claning aspect of clans or just communities in general, this is a great opportunity for y'all to get involved. I believe Porkan or Porkman, whatever that is. I don't know how to say your username correctly. I'm so sorry. Is the new forerunner. So definitely give them a check out. So that's like all TNI. I mean, we could go on and on and on about like Red Cell and everything, but I think we could probably save Red Cell for another.
I would argue that we haven't fully been through everything yet, because
Wait,
there are also
what am I forgetting?
There are also two notable things that happened as well.
Oh.
So, as you might have heard Glave say earlier, Ragdoll was the director of divisions when she was Arch-admiral.
Mm-hmm.
In order for that to have happened, we had a resignation of the Arch-admiralty, which, if I remember correctly, during our last podcast, astrochemistry has not yet resigned at that point. But over our kind of extended informal break, astrochemistry resigned from the position.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Astro, no. I mean, I still see him around every now and then, but that's right. He was the what have you called? The division's administrator. That's true.
That was it.
I completely. I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting about people, but I completely forgot. Yeah,
now Glave's gonna have both Royal Guards and IPC now to get for.
Speaking of astrochemistry, you just reminded me as well. Intense Snows has also resigned from the administration since our last recording.
That is true. My old Arch-admiral.
That means so astrochemistry, Ragdoll or Astromarius, however you know her, and Intense Snows. That's three Arch-admiral, well, one Supreme Admiral, two Arch-admirals who resigned. Oh my gosh, that leaves Madigan. Madigan as the OG one, I guess, and
actually, if we also consider the fact that Astro was also technically the first Supreme Admiral.
Right.
That'd be two Supremes and one Arch-admiral.
And though Intense was the Supreme Admiral in my heart. He was always. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Now you're gonna get Astro knocking on your door personally.
No, yeah, that's so true. There's been so many changes in the administration since we've last met, so that's really good to sort of think about. Well, that's not really good because I miss all of them. They're all great people, but it's just interesting to think about. Definitely a lot of changes there. I mean, I guess speaking of rank changes, you've just reminded me as well. I mean, I believe Progression has recently released a sort of new way of progressing through the sub-officer ranks to reach captain and first lieutenant.
That is correct. We actually have a academy now.
Academy?
Yeah, an academy. I know, right? We have school and a TNI group.
Guys, student first.
Stay in school, kids.
TNI school.
So, as you all might have known, if you watched the original podcast, we had a role called SLT Sub-Lieutenant. But during a recent rank change, names have changed within the lieutenant ranks. Now there's first lieutenant and second lieutenant. Second lieutenant is SLT still. FLT is just the normal lieutenant, from what we might have known before. And essentially what that entails for the academy is now the only way to get a sub-lieutenant is by going through the academy. And I don't know exactly how it works since I don't work too closely with that side of stuff, but I know there's about 3 phases for it. A preliminary question, a second question phase, and then the official evaluation. Again, I could be wrong about that. You'd have to look at the document for the academy. Once you are I believe it's staff sergeant, I think the rank is. their minimum rank is. Correct if I'm wrong.
I think it's Staff Sergeant. It might be Sergeant First Class. Let's see. I think it's Sergeant First Class. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of ranks, we actually also introduced 3 new ranks, correct?
Yes, to the NCO since the last. That's right. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting it's been that long since the last podcast. But yes, there are new like sub-officer ranks that aren't hosted ranks. I believe it's what Sergeant First Class, Sergeant.
Yes. Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, Sergeant Major, and then it goes to Ensign, Second Lieutenant, First Lieutenant, Captain, Colonel, Commodore, Admiral, so on and so forth.
Right. Yes. There's new honor requirements for those as well. There's also, I believe, it's an ensign morph, or is it a?
Yes. It's a. Actually, I think that's the Sergeant First Class gets a morph, and then an ensign gets a morph.
Right. Yes. So there's obviously. For all of you OGs who might be listening to this, you might remember ensign being the highest rank. Well, now all old ensigns are sergeant first classes, and ensign needs even more honor. So if you want to get back into the grind, totally get back into it. There's new morphs. I believe some of the new NCO ranks, they get dual pistols and a sword. So
yes, that's correct.
Definitely check it out. Lots of fun there.
And there's also not technically a kind of normal sword. It's not the kind of sword that you get from wherever. Because now with the new system, we have a new sword for the ensigns, which I believe is still less powerful than the Game Pass sword, but still cool to have. If you don't have any sword in your inventory at all, since I think it is technically the best sword out of all of them, aside from Game Pass, obviously.
Yeah, so definitely check it out if you're not, if you're a Sergeant First Class wanting to get some cool morphs. And obviously, of course, when you reach the rank of Second Lieutenant, you do get access to the Sub-Officer morph, which gets the Sub-Officer sword and everything.
Actually, no, that's not true.
Really? Oh, they've changed it.
Yeah, they changed it. So now you have to have the correct honor requirement. Correct honor requirement in the group. You can't bypass it by going up to Second Lieutenant.
Right. Okay, so that means you gotta work for it. You gotta work if you want the cool sword. It is a really cool morph. I do remember using it actually. I think I actually remember help designing it. So yeah, check that out. Since the border, I know it can be a little boring, but new morphs and everything definitely makes it a little bit more fun for y'all, and a little bit more engaging. And I hear that Red Cell has been consistently rating as well. So great opportunity.
Another thing to mention is that I don't know if this was announced during the last podcast, but in case you haven't heard, we announced a while back that we had a new division joining up called the Imperial Navy.
Oh, guys, I swear the Imperial Navy will be released one day. One day. Just not in our lifetimes.
Yeah, not in our lifetimes at all. Because as of, I think it was around the middle of last year, we had the unfortunate announcement that we would not be getting the Imperial Navy, which means no more ships in the game.
At least as of right now. Don't lose hope. One day, if the administration is listening and I'm taking another pass, I would happily lead the Imperial Navy. We would deploy our fleet all over the border. It would be so much fun. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. But yeah, unfortunately, pigs have flown and the Imperial Navy has still not existed. So I can tell you now, I'm still in the Imperial Navy Discord. Yeah.
Link.
Can I invite people? Oh, I can. Maybe. I also got blacklisted from the Imperial Navy. I don't know if you guys know. I was one of the first people. I was the first person to get blacklisted from the Imperial Navy. Apparently, I was too active when we were still in the planning phase. I don't know if you get for context. I would send like a message daily, and it pissed Ragdoll off so bad because she kept checking the server to think something important happened, and it was just me sending random stuff. Sorry, that's what, the second time? It's the second time. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, but speaking of all these divisions in TNI and all the focuses, let's sort of shift over to sort of, in your opinion, it's been some time. You've had some time to look at all the new divisions, not new, but all the divisions, sort of their upgraded gear, as well as the focuses. Obviously Warfare is gone, but we still have Community Prog. They've taken on a bunch of new roles and everything. What is sort of, in your opinion, what is your favorite division, or what do you think would be the best division?
I mean, why? Mm, honestly, I'd have to say between either MP or CE. Probably leaning
MP
more
or
towards
CE?
CE.
CE, why?
To be honest, I just find the community a bit more lax compared to MP, kind of more easygoing, kind of chill. It's not really too intense. You can kind of hang out, talk,
Hmm.
and also just kind of more welcoming, I'd say, overall.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, as we even talked about earlier, they're definitely a very, very strong community.
Yeah. Also, we also didn't mention, but Leviathan for CE also. The subdivision for CE.
Yes, that's true. CE has recently released a elite subdivision. Can you believe that? Elite medics. I believe they're led by Supermaster, though I know all of you played a big role in it. From what I understand, based on their little public, whatever you call it, public document, they seem to be, they seem to have some improved equipment, like an AK-48, as well as like a medi platform, which is if you like stand on it, I think it automatically heals you. And I think they get some improved other things like an electro gun and blast shield. So, hey, if you're interested in taking on a more specialized role in CE, I hear the electro gun is super annoying if you're raiding. So if you want to go annoy some rebels, CE might be the place for you, because I think you can use it on the. I don't quote me on this because I know you can't tase rebels. I know the rules, but maybe, I don't know, for CE it might be different. But yeah, CE definitely very, very good choice for me personally. I might be a little bit biased in this. I'm gonna say MP. I sort of started my TNI downfall, or I don't know if I'd call it a downfall, but my TNI addiction started in MP.
The downfall.
Yeah, my own personal downfall started in MP way back in like 2019 when I became. Might have been 2018. No, it was 2018 actually. I think when I became an inspector.
I'd have to say that I was kind of in the same position as you with that, because I kind of started my stuff with MP as well. I was actually part of Manticore for a bit.
Oh yeah, I remember. Then you weren't cool, guys. Manticore's the best subdivision, by the way. Just join Manticore.
I mean,
Not biased at all.
I think I made it up to operative when I was there.
I miss the old Manticore. Not saying that the guys join the new Manticore. I'm still a part of it. It's really cool, but I just miss the people in the old Manticore. Like the amount of like OGs we had there. You had it's essentially true. You had Sug. You had all of those fun people. Fishy Walrus. Like that was where I was at. But yeah, I started my career in MP, so definitely. I say career. That sounds crazy to say, but
yeah. Why do I have to say same in that case? Why do I have to say same?
Yeah, I started in MP, so I have a natural bias. They do a lot. I know they're like the rule enforcers or whatever, but they know how to have fun. And honestly, it is such a cool division to be a part of, such a unique community. You're sort of bonded by. Everybody fails that EE usually the first time, so you build a shared sense of suffering over the EEs and everything. I remember when I joined MP, I actually got a private tryout. Josh Martin hosted one just for me because I was the only one to show up. This was back when MP had tryouts, by the way, and he hosted one just for me. It was like probably the coolest thing ever, and I think that's also why I'm so biased towards MP, is because Josh gave me a shot even though no one else was there.
I know that's actually I think I actually went to when I first joined MP. I was actually part of one of Josh's tryouts when I passed it.
Yeah, those tryouts were brutal.
Yeah, I think I actually passed my EE on my first run when I first joined MP.
I passed the tryout, but then I never took the application. I just got automatically ranked probationary trooper. Like, I remember you had to do the tryout, then you had to take the app, and then I think you had to do an EE. Josh just forgot about the last two parts. So I got in as a probationary trooper for free.
The way it went was tryout, application, enlist evaluation, probationary cadet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Josh skipped those last 2 parts for me. I didn't even realize that until like 2 years later. I think Josh just genuinely forgot, or he didn't want to go through the process for one person. So I just sort of got ranked in for free. Please don't revoke my membership. MP, I swear. I'm a good, whatever you call it, MP, I swear. But speaking of, I mean, best divisions, obviously, but what about the best focus, you know? I have had the opportunity of being in every single focus. I think you have as well. I mean, you've been in Prague, you've been in community, you've been everywhere. In your opinion,
Yeah,
you know, and let's just put warfare back in it.
I've been in a couple. I haven't really done anything in warfare though. You know, I gotta be biased toward my boys in Prague.
Oh, I see how it is. Okay, going towards Prague. Why? Why Prague?
Well, I mean, not to brag or anything, but I did hold a position only 2 people held. And fun fact about that specific position, that position was especially meant for me.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you were head evaluator, right?
That was actually one of my roles, but that was not the specific role I got that was meant for me. The specific role that was meant for me was actually the executive general position.
Right, yes. That was such a cool title too. I was like, dang, I'm jealous.
Yeah, because basically, as I said earlier, when we were talking about Intense, I said that he was my admiral.
Mm-hmm.
I was a administrative colonel under Intense for the purposes of training for the possibility of being promoted to admiral with him.
Right.
And then the incident happened.
Yes, we don't speak of that. Something we can talk about in another podcast, maybe.
We don't speak of the incident. Just so that there was an incident.
That would be a really fun topic for another podcast. We could go through like we could call it like the drama incidents in TNI and just go through like. I'm just kidding.
When I'm not there.
But maybe if you guys want it, DM me.
Maddie, again, just disconnect here.
Yeah. For me, I'm torn between community and Prague. I gotta choose my answer carefully. And justice, honestly. I'm torn between. I got to be in I got to be in every department. The first department I was ever part of was integration. That was under Jim.
Wait, you're right. I was justice too. Sorry,
If I had to say, I would say community, just because that's sort of where I actually started to care about TNI was when I was in the community department under Essentially True. That was probably that was the best. That was I think I had the most fun there, especially being like a colonel in the community department. I think I had a lot of fun. Sort of back in 2020, especially, that was sort of that time when TNI was sort of, at its peak activity because of COVID and everything else going on in the world. It made it a lot of fun, the large scale events we ran, like the Blood and Iron, Clashing Steel. By the way, if you guys want that, let me know. I can talk to the community admirals. We'll make it happen.
Actually, I was actually really surprised at the numbers we had during COVID because I was still executive general at that time, and I have to say the numbers are crazy. The numbers were crazy back then.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, I remember being working with Essentially, one of our goals was to get 1,000 events in a week, just from the community focus alone, and I think we hit that. We hit 1,013 events in 1 week during during COVID, and I was like, You've got to be kidding me! It was crazy. So. Yeah. Definitely community, I think, just because that's always been my home. Prague and Justice, I'm sorry, you guys are a close second. I definitely loved my time as an admiral, being able to work with y'all. It definitely, opened my eyes to a whole different side of the group, more of the logistics and the administrative side, because community is very much all about interaction. It's all about building those connections. But Prague, it's very much all behind the scenes. And that's something I actually really, really enjoyed working with y'all. And you guys do so much. And really, you don't get a lot of credit because nobody sees what you do. But shout out to all my Prague and Justice friends. You guys do so much. So really, really well done. Keep up the good work, guys.
And I never got a Prague catalyst.
Oh shoot, yeah, medals. That's the other thing that's changed. I'm just backtracking slightly. I believe there's a new medal system out as well. Although I'm not very familiar with it, but check it out, guys. I believe Hockey Chris had been working on that. Yeah, so check that out.
Hockey Chris was working on it for a while. Actually, I think it was between Liaison and Hockey originally.
Right. Well, definitely check that out, guys. Check out the new medal system, especially if you're coming back and you're like, I don't remember this. Check it out. I believe there's a document log and an announcement.
Yeah, it is. There is. I'm looking at it now, actually.
Oh. me see if I can find it. Oh, there's so less channels. It's so much easier to scroll. Bum, bum, bum. That was some feedback. Boom. Yeah, the medal handbook. Yeah, definitely give that a check out. I wonder if I still have all my medals.
I lost some of mine because they haven't. They unfortunately took away my fun medals in the form of my warblers.
No, shoot. I had a lot of those too. No. 1 second. How do I check its profile?
Oh wait, right. Actually, yeah, I think it's profile. It looks like they're still there, but the question is, are they still a thing?
Yeah. Slash profile. My slash key is broken on my keyboard, so I have to like copy paste it in. It's actually one of the most freaking inconvenient things in my life. Like, whenever I'm trying to use slash, it's just impossible. Slash profile.
Yeah, it's just been a. Wait a minute. Is that Glave? Take a minute to go into the document and look at Senior Community Exemplar. Isn't that your avatar?
Yes, that is. Oh my gosh, can't believe they're still using that. I honestly forgot that. I know this. Let's see. Oh no, I still got.
They haven't awarded mine. They haven't awarded mine. That's sad.
What is TNI's Bane and Division Devotus? I don't remember being given any of these medals.
Yeah, same here. There's some medals I don't recognize, like TNI's Lament. It's like they do have a lot of new medals for a lot of things, really.
Definitely give it a check out, guys. Premier's Commendation. Hey, who took that away from me? That was mine.
Didn't I have that one too?
Yeah, I think, did I give that to you or did someone else give that to you?
I think you did.
Yeah, and then Ollie gave me Premier's Commendation, but oh well, it's whatever. Whatever. Medal of Admiralty. No, okay, I have that. Okay, cool. I'll look at this later. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting distracted. I'm like,
we all got distracted for a minute.
Sort of moving on, though. I mean, from sort of like TNI, just, you know, it's been a while since we even had a chance to catch up, and a lot has changed. I mean, in the world that we're in as well. I mean, obviously, we had COVID and everything back there in 2020, 2021. As of recently, like, things have changed a lot. I mean, I think the most notable thing that we can all sort of talk about is TikTok, especially here in the United States. Yeah, the TikTok ban, I believe that went through recently, although I heard that there's
it was on it was actually, I don't know if it's gone. I don't know if it's back, but I do know that it got yeeted off of a lot of things, really.
What are people gonna do, dude? Like, I don't mean to brag, but I never had TikTok. I would not sink that low. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that the amount of brain rot on there sometimes made me very question the internet sanity. You know what I mean? But there was definitely some good stuff on TikTok. Lots of like recipes. Like, my thing is like I watch Instagram Reels, which I know is not any better, but at least it's not TikTok. But I've seen a bunch of the TikToks shift over. Obviously, I believe that the recently inaugurated President Trump has given TikTok a little bit more time to sell. But
I don't think it's much. I don't know the entire story of it. I know it's like Trump is giving them time to do something with it. At the same time, I don't know what the entire plan is. I don't know if it's going to be like they have to do this at some point, or if they have to whatever. But it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you look at the younger generation as well. I guess I'll say, the whole like what do we call it, micro attention, like the dopamine addiction, everything that people are saying. It's like the attention span, like what are people going to do with TikTok if they can't reach some sort of agreement and whatever, like are they going to go over to Instagram Reels, like our Instagram Reels next, YouTube Shorts, you've got all these like little short span attention things always grabbing for your attention. So I'm very curious to sort of see how it plays out, and sort of like, just the student in me and like the researcher is very interesting to see like how it plays in effect on sort of like the psychological effect on our younger generation, and how it's going to sort of impact us moving forward. Some of the other big things sort of happening in the real world, obviously, since 2022, there's been a lot. I think a more recent event has been obviously the fires in LA. Very, very terrible. I used to live in LA. Well, not in LA. I used to be a little bit south of LA. but I know some friends up there. So huge shout out, to all the firefighters and everyone up there. The international support that has also been given towards the Los Angeles fires. It's just a terrible, terrible event. And to all of you in the area, be safe. Safety first. Don't play the border. Please evacuate if you're being told to evacuate. I feel like that doesn't need to be said, but people are people. So yeah, prioritize your safety, guys. Know that thoughts and prayers for y'all. Stay safe. For those of you who obviously are unaware, just look up LA fires. You'll see tons of articles over that.
Yeah.
But on a brighter note, Sonic 3 has been a recent movie that has released in the last few weeks. Very, very big from what I've seen.
Yeah, especially with Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow in that movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, he did a fantastic job with voicing him, in my opinion.
I mean, it's got an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and usually I don't put a lot of weight into movie ratings, but an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes is generally a really, really good sign.
I assume that's the audience rating, or?
Yeah, audience rating.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves, Vince Mortimer, James Marsden, huge big name cast. Really, really good to see that movie's doing well. Has there been any other movies that you've seen recently that you're just really into?
Not really, actually. I haven't really been able to see any movies, but I know that How to Train Your Dragon is getting a live action relatively soon, to my knowledge.
Yes, I actually just saw, I think, the first trailer on TV for that. I'm actually really excited to see that. Obviously, sort of raised on How to Train Your Dragon. So it's, for me, it's something that it's like a childhood. So I hope they do it well. With live actions, they can either be like really, really good, or like the CGI just gets, especially, with dragons and everything, like the CGI can be really bad. But I'm sort of hoping it's like, like Game of Thrones almost. Like I hope they can do it well.
I know, like, with me, like, this is gonna be a bit into my real life, but I've been told when I was younger I sound like Hiccup.
A little, actually. I mean, I can sort of hear it. Now that you mention it, it's something I never... Yeah, okay. Yeah, now I don't know if I can not unhear that. That's...
Do you want me to say the line, then? Do you just want me to say the line?
Say it.
Okay, give me a sec. I'm gonna actually try for the voice. This is Burke.
Goodness, that's too close for comfort. Are you sure you're not like his actual voice actor and you just gaslighting all of us? You're secretly famous.
I can tell you I'm not, for sure.
But yeah, so How to Train Your Dragon live action, that is coming out soon. Some other big things and some big movies that recently come out. I believe Wicked with Ariana Grande and I forget the other actress's name. Wicked 2024 with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I have not been able to see it yet, unfortunately, but I have only heard good things from people. I've seen the Broadway in person, but I've not watched the movie. That's half the reason why I haven't watched it, because I'm worried it won't be as good as the Broadway. But I do think that based on everything that I've heard, it's an incredibly good movie. Again, very high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, so definitely go check that movie out. Let's see. I mean, Star Wars, for all of you Star Wars nerds out there, Revenge of the Sith is re-releasing in theaters at some point this year for the 25th anniversary, I believe.
Like the original version, or is it going to be like a reshoot of it?
The original. It's just re-releasing in theaters. So, all you Star Wars nerds out there, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Go and see it. I guarantee you, if I have a test that day, I don't care. I'm going to go and see it, because that is probably the best movie in the Star Wars franchise.
As someone who's worked with Glave, I can confirm his addiction to Star Wars.
I definitely went through phases. Harry Potter was one of them, but yeah, I was always in sort of a Star Warsy mood. If you bring up Star Wars, like talk to me, like DM me about Star Wars, I will happily have a conversation with you for hours. I love the lore and everything. Speaking of Star Wars as well, Andor Season 2, for those of you who don't know, Disney Plus released Andor Season 1 some time ago. It's like a live action. If you remember Rogue One, the movie, it's with what's his name? Andrew. What's his name? I'm forgetting the actor's name off the top of my head. Diego Luna. Yes, Diego Luna. He plays Cassian Andor in Rogue One, but they made like a mini series on it, sort of how he got to where he was in the movie. By far, probably the best Star Wars live action arguably better than The Mandalorian, for those of you who have watched both. I know that might be pushing it a little, but to me, at least, it's so good. So watch out for Andor Season 2. I believe it is releasing here as well. I believe Star Wars also recently released Skeleton Crew. I have not watched it yet, but I have actually heard some pretty good things about it. I have my concerns about it. I just don't know. It seems more oriented towards younger generations, but I still need to I need to watch it. I need to at least give it a shot before I knock it. So,
Well, anyway, Glaive, I do believe it is about time we start wrapping up.
yes, I've been yapping for a while. My voice is this is the longest I've talked like nonstop, I think, for a really long time. And I know we could probably keep going for hours and hours and hours,
Yeah.
but we could save that for other podcasts. So just what to look forward to next time. What can our audience sort of expect?
So I believe that we actually have planned on kind of discussing kind of how TNI has impacted us as people outside of the group.
Definitely. Yeah, it might sound weird to some of you guys, but TNI, it does have some benefits. It sounds weird saying, but we'll break it down in the next episode, because there's definitely some things that that you can learn here, which is why I still recommend, no matter what the state of the group might seem, it's still good to get involved and pick up some really good skills. I also believe we're going to talk about some of our early TNI experiences, sort of a nostalgia send back, if you will.
Oh God, will I even be able to remember some of that?
I know, that's what I'm wondering. I'm actually have to sit down and start going through some old DMs, go through some old documents, and see if I can figure out and remember what exactly what inspired me to get involved in this madness called TNI.
Yeah.
And then I also believe, obviously talking about the past, we'll also talk about, the future of TNI, sort of get an idea just of where the direction of the group is, sort of what to expect in the future. There's a few things I think I can tell you guys, a few things I don't, but we'll break it down, all of that, in the next episode. Was there anything else in particular? I mean, there'll be more in that episode, trust me, more than just that, but those are sort of like the big things we'll be talking about. So yeah, I mean, how do you think this first one went? This first...
I'd say this is pretty good. I'd say this is pretty good. It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable getting this back up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. I mean, it was a little awkward there at the start, but it's the first time hosting, so for at least me. But I know it will continue to improve. So don't worry, guys. It's only going to get better. Maybe we'll do some fun. We'll have some interviews, get some people in here to talk about stuff and everything. And maybe we'll record one live. Who knows?
We'll see.
But until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Remember, obviously, school has started for y'all. Put school first. You guys are students first. But as always, stay involved with stuff outside of school, like TNI, clubs, whatever. It's always good to have breaks. And yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. And we're looking forward to talking to you guys next time.
We will see you later.
Ciao.
Adieu.